Hello, welcome to this midweek review. Firstly, I'm going to cover the instruments I'm looking at, then I'll cover your chart requests. So if you have any, you can leave them in the comments below and I'll put them in the next video. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to be covering just a trade idea for the rest of the week and instrument I like the look of. So we're going to cover EURUSD first, and we're going to start off in the higher time frames, and we're just going to draw these charts up together and just go over. Firstly, my bias is bearish. You can see on the weekly chart just by looking at a naked chart that this is very bearish, and I just want to be trading with the momentum, which is obviously to the downside, and I will be looking for selling opportunities. So let's just mark out some support and resistance on the weekly time frame. This low is key. As you can see, prices come up and react off it already, and I'm also going to just use these candles to have a bit of a zone. So if I zoom in, you can see here that we have support, and resistance. So we're hitting resistance in a downtrend, and we're just looking for a price to continue. Now we did hit parity and bounce, and that would become my target again. So that is the target for me in the lower time frames, but if it goes past that, it goes past that. I am very bearish on this instrument. So looking also, we do have this pattern that I've talked about a good few times, where we have one candle, weekly candle here, and you can see the next week comes up, raids it and fills close above it. So once that happens, once you see these two in a row, mark out the next candle, and here is where you'd like to be trading. You have nice confluence as well, so we raid this candle high into a strong area of support that could turn to resistance. So in here is where you're looking to get involved with selling ideas. Now we have reacted away from that level, and on the lower time frames, let's go down to the H4. Let's look at structure and see if there is any places that we can get involved with the market. So I'm just marking out H4 support and resistance. Also key levels that are relevant to where price is now. So we're inside this range. You can see when we were inside it before, we've just ranged, and this is where we're at the moment. So all in all, inside this range could be choppy, but if I've got a bearish bias, I want to be looking for price to come back up into areas that sold off before. So we have resistance, resistance, resistance. We sold off before here, here, and here. This looks like a deviation. We've hit a higher time frame level. We've also broke structure. So everything is looking bearish for EURUSD. Either I want to pull back into previous resistance, or if we get a push, a close, and a retest, then that's what I'll be looking to sell. There is probably trading opportunities in the really lower time frames where you could use daily highs and lows, which I've talked about before. If we go down into the hourly, you can see that we come up, raided that daily high and sold off. If we look at a few other examples of that, you can see this Monday high, deviation back below. So if you have your bias and you look for previous days highs and lows to be sort of deviated, that will probably add a little bit of confluence to your trading. So you can see here, this day we got a deviation, nice little trade to the downside. We can also see here, deviation, trade to the downside. We can see here at the daily highs, nice raid, trade to the downside. See here, nice raid, trade to the downside, nice raid, trade to the downside. So that would add a little bit of confidence to your trading. If you have your bias set, I have a bearish bias, then you can mark out your weekly highs and lows and your daily highs and lows, and then those become areas where you want to be looking for some trades. So with that being said, let's just move on to pound, which is another instrument that I am trading this week. Out here on the weekly, we have support and resistance here. I am bearish in this instrument along with EURUSD, and I'll be looking for selling opportunities. We do have this inside week, and if we could break and retest that, then we could look for lower prices. But we'll also be looking at daily highs and lows. So let's just go down into the daily time frame. We've got a nice break of structure here. Support, support, break, retest as resistance, and we've got a bearish move to the downside. So I'm just looking to get on board this to the downside as well. There is some lower time frame daily support, so I'm just going to use that. Resistance here, then we got this close above and use it as support here, and now this is where we're at. If we can get a daily close below there, even a H4 close below, retest that, then that'll open up the gates for more downside in my eyes. So let's take a look on the hourly. We can see Monday's low comes in nicely in that area as well. Just mark that out, which will add a little bit of confluence. Monday's levels are always key in trading. So if we can get a push and a retest, then we'll have the confluence of Monday's low as well. We'll also have a previous Monday's low here. That'll be a previous weekly low. So a lot of confluence in this area if we can get that push to the downside on pound. There's not much else to go over there. I think I've covered everything, and I will be looking for selling opportunities in pound. You can see that we did come up, which I was talking about in euro, rated a previous daily high, and then that is the catalyst for the push lower. And I'm sure if you go over your charts and look at daily highs and lows, weekly highs and lows, you'll find plenty of times and plenty of opportunities where we deviate, get back below, and sells off. It's just I have been bullish dollar yen. We did come down into a weekly area, resistance, turn support, and support here, reacted quite well, and we're getting this bullish move this week. I do see higher prices. I was waiting to see if we were getting some yen strength or not, and I would have looked at euro yen and pound yen, which I was looking at the start of the week, but it looks like dollar is becoming much stronger, so I'd rather trade pound dollar on euro dollar to the downside. But things could change, but that's my plan going forward at the moment. Let's go down into the daily and take a look at where price is coming into previous level of structure. We have support here and resistance here, so I don't want to be long straight into resistance. Either we come back down into an area of support, and that's where I'll look to get long, or if we can get a daily close and retest from the underside, that is where I will look for more trading opportunities to the upside in dollar yen. But at the moment we are coming into an area where we sold off before, and you don't really want to be long straight into that area. You'd rather wait for a break, or I would rather wait for a break and then use this as a shelf to go higher. So that's really all that I'm looking at. Let's take a look at what you guys have sent in for me to break down. So let's look at the first comment from Jonathan Martinez. Future guessing mine would be stocks, so I don't really trade stocks, but I will take a look at SPX and cover that from a higher time frame down. I'm actually going to start off in the 6 month chart and break this down for you. Just the levels that I'm looking at, we have obvious support and resistance in these candles, open and closes, and I'm just pointing that out because it's relevant to where we are at the moment. We've had this huge bearish candle pullback, and we could maybe see another rollover. Obviously very bullish on this, but I don't think the pullback's over, to be honest, and it's something that I am looking at just in line with other markets. So let's go and look at the monthly, and you can see in the monthly it becomes a little bit clearer, this support, resistance, and this is higher time frame resistance. So looking for some movement to the downside here would be ideal. We'll take a look at the daily. Actually, on the monthly here, I just want to point out this inside month and then this level here. So you could see that this is a deviation. If we get back below then that might be the trigger for more downside in my eyes. So I'm just going to mark out that candle. I'm going to mark out the candle open and close because that is going to be support and resistance on the lower time frames. Let's go down to the daily, and you can see that level that I'm talking about. Support here, and resistance here. So we've come up, cleared out some stops, higher time frame level. If I was to trade this, I would trade it down to this next level. I'd only be looking for selling opportunities. If we close above and retest, then I would just come out of this market. So I would look for sales down into this key level and then come out of the market. If we break and retest, then I would look for more downside. And that's just my market observation. At the moment, not really too interested in it, but I do note that it's coming off a higher time frame level, and I think I would wait for, if this is a deviation, just to get back below and retest that. And then you see we sold off from here before. We have support, and I just think that would be ideal place to get involved with this market. So thanks for your comment. Anything else you want me to cover, and then just let me know. Now we'll move on to the next comment, which was Stephen Smith. You want me to cover Solana, BNB, so we'll start off with Solana, and we'll do the same. We'll just go out to the 6-month chart, just mark out this support resistance, we'll mark out these candle lows, that'll become support and resistance on the lower time frames. You can see we've bounced here. So what do we have here? We have the pattern that I was talking about on the lower time frame, where we raid one candle wick, sell off, and then this is where you want to be looking for selling opportunities, which I pointed out earlier. So just look for this pattern. It's quite powerful. Obviously, if we zoom out, you can see very bearish, and you want to be trading with the flow of the market, which is obviously down. We've had one pullback here, and we've taken out a previous monthly high and sold off. So all in all, very bearish in my eyes. Let's take a look at the daily chart. We do have some structure here that we're coming into. So if I was to trade this, we have support. We are at a level of support. I wouldn't be looking for any sales at the moment. If we get a daily close and retest, then this is where I would look for selling opportunities. It's not where I would sell, it's where I would look for selling opportunities. There's a few things I look for before entering a trade, but at the moment, that is one area I would look at. And then we have an obvious area of resistance here. So if I'm bearish, I want to be trading at resistance. So we sold off here before, we sold off here before, and we sold off here before. If we bounce from here and pull back, then I'll look for some sells. But the key is breaking this structure support to look for the next move to the downside, to that higher time frame support. So hopefully that was clear to you. Let's take a look at BNB. 6-month chart. This support and resistance, you can see that we're coming up into that area, and we have come up into that area of resistance. And I just want to point out that we are at these key levels, so it may seem very bullish on the lower time frames, but just remember that we're coming into solid area of support and resistance. Let's look at the monthly chart. We do have an inside month, and we have come up and rated this mother bar high. So there is a pattern that I like to look at where we raid a mother bar high. If we fail to close above it, then you may see a move south on this. So we're at a higher time frame level of resistance. We've swept 2 monthly highs and rejected. So on the lower time frames, I would be looking for selling opportunities. So let's just look at, this is a previous inside month. We come up, we deviate it, it takes ages obviously, but then we get that move to the downside, and that's something that I'll be keeping an eye on. Sometimes we just raid it and fall straight away. You can see this pattern that I mentioned a few times before right here. We raid one candle wick trade off, and then create another candle before the big move. So we've raised 2 candles here. Obviously the candle's not closed yet, but all in all, I would be looking for selling opportunities in this, just to go with the flow of the market, and then obviously we have those higher time frame levels of resistance. On the daily, let's mark out some structure, just in case we need to come into it. So we're coming into some support. Either we bounce, come back, this is an area where I want to sell, or we break below and retest from the underside, and then look for selling opportunities. And then the bigger trades will come if we can break this structure and retest, and then look for a selling opportunity. So that's what I would look for. Obviously this is just my observations, and somebody could have totally different outlook than me, but this is what I'm seeing. Let's finish off with Bitcoin. It is looking quite interesting. On the monthly chart, we had this inside month, we've come up, take out a monthly high, and we have rejected that at the moment. So if we've rejected that and I'm looking for more downside, I'm looking for structure on the lower time frames. So let's go down to the H4. Let's take a look at structure. If I'm looking for selling opportunities, we really need to see what's holding up this market. This was holding up this market. We have support, 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 and now we've got that break. So what am I looking at now? There is a trading opportunity pretty close to this, and this is something that I will be keeping an eye on for the rest of the week. So let's just get this sorted. Break of structure, and then we have support here, support here, support here. Come up into here, into resistance, and I will be looking for selling opportunities on the lower time frames. Let's just see where Monday's range falls in. Monday's range low is here. So yeah, we'd have the added protection of that. So any pullback into there, I will be looking for selling opportunities in Bitcoin. If we do something like this, all shorts are off the table, and this is going to be a deviation, it's going to trick a lot of people in, and then we're going to go higher. But at the moment, I am bearish in this instrument. We have come off higher time frame levels. We've rated a monthly high, and yeah, I'll be looking for selling opportunities. You can see when we rated it, bearish candle sold off, so that's a previous daily high as well. You can see we came up, rated a previous daily high. So if you're bearish in this instrument, I told you before in the video, look at daily highs. If you're bearish, look at daily lows like this one for if you're bullish. So it may add a little bit of confidence to your trading. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, then you can subscribe. And if you have any instruments you want me to cover in the next video, then just leave a comment below and I'll add it.